No smell. Go figure. But it was on sale, so I couldn't resist myself. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Voodoo Garden. My name is Ray, and these are my co-hosts. This is the Garden of Voo. I have some new additions to the room, and I spent a lot of time getting them ready to meet you. So what do you think? Do you want to meet these guys? Some of them are actually, I don't think this is a guy. I think this is a girl. It's just too darn pretty to be a guy. This I found, well, actually all of them. All of these I found at Walmart. Remember I was mentioning that the big box stores like Walmart, Home Depot, Lowe's, they don't have too awful many tropical plants when they're offering all the bedding plants because everybody wants to buy bedding plants, flowers, vegetables, things like that. Well, it's July here in Iowa, so actually it's July everywhere. Okay, that was stupid, but I'm okay with that. But it's July. And nobody is buying bedding plants anymore. Nope, you can't give those things away. Well, what they did is the bedding plants are all dying at the stores because nobody's watering, because nobody's buying them, and they brought in their tropical plants. Then what they did was the old tropical plants that were there, they marked down. Yeah, and then when they mark them down, little buzzards like me, we head in and we buy them really, really cheap. And that's where I got my little friends. My little friends are in the Voodoo Garden. This one, and I don't know how to pronounce it, so I am very okay if you correct me when I'm wrong. And this one is called Kalanchoe or Kalanchoe, something like that. I'm gonna look it up, and I'm gonna put it right up here, and you figure out how to pronounce it. Okay, Kalanchoe. It's a succulent that puts out flowers. Yeah, it's a beauty. Now I'm not gonna bring you up close yet. I'm gonna hold on. I'm going to tell you what these are, and then I'll have you come on a little bit closer. This one is called a Dracaena. And you've heard of dragon trees, the ones that put out those spiky leaves and stuff. Well, it has a lot of relatives. This is another form of Dracaena. I got this one on sale. Not done. Now this one doesn't look very great. But I've been doing some repotting. All of these except one have been repotted. Because remember I mixed up the compost with all my potting soil? I want to show you some results of that. Yeah, just that soon. Now this one here is a type of philodendron. You know, we have the Prince of Orange over here. Actually, it's turning into quite the showstopper. We have the Prince of Orange. That's one type of philodendron. This is another type that looks a little bit more common, but there's something a little bit different about that you're going to see once I drag you up close and shove your face into it. And then this one has been one of Mike the Dishwasher's favorite plants of all time, and Walmart marked it down for me. Thank you, Walmart. I really appreciate it. And it is called, I believe, a bird nest fern. Yeah, a bird nest fern. I finally have a fern in the Voodoo Garden. A lot of folks are wondering, well, Ray, it's tropical paradise in here. Why don't you have ferns? And I'm thinking, yeah, why don't I have ferns? Well, it turns out they're not selling ferns, so that's why I don't have them. And then this one, this little bugger. It's a jade plant, a very common house plant in many homes, but I'm going to be showing you, if fortune favors this fool, I'm going to be showing you how to grow this from this itty bitty thing. Mark your calendars, because eventually, if this one works out like the last one, this is going to eventually end up so big I'm going to have a hard time finding room for it in the Voodoo Garden. Yes, this itty bitty thing. Now, come on over here and have a seat with me, okay? And I'm going to explain these things to you really, really quick, and then I'm going to show you something a little spectacular. Let's start out with the first one I mentioned, the Kalanchoe. They have thick, fleshy leaves, and they're usually a little bit clustered in there. And then it's very common for them to put out these beautiful pink flowers. They look like little itty bitty roses, don't they? They're absolutely beautiful. I wasn't expecting too awful much from it. When I got it, it was just this really tall, really small, compact plant that had a couple buds coming out of it. Well, I'm sure some folks aren't going to like this, but what I did was I took it out of its pot and transplanted it into some very compost-rich soil. I know. A lot of folks are biting their nails saying, Ray, you don't put succulents into compost-rich soil. Actually, yes, I do. I've grown a lot of things in ways that most folks wouldn't even dream of. You know, I've grown orchids in potting soil. You're not supposed to, but I did, and I grew them for years, and they flowered multiple times. You can do a lot of things that you don't think you can do if you just give it a try. Anyway, here's that one. I'm going to move it over, and yeah, I'm sitting right next to you. We're just that close. We're like this. Okay, and this one is called Dracaena. Now, with my Mr. Magoo eyes, actually, you know what? I don't even need to do that. You can read. And I got the tag right here. It says Lemon Surprise. I never think of lemon surprise when I think of plants, and yet that's what this one is called. And it's got some beautiful stripes. Now, dragon trees, or Dracaena, I'm sorry, dragon tree is one type of Dracaena. I should not be calling these dragon trees. There are different ones like Janet Craig, the typical corn plant, dragon tree, all different kinds of Dracaenas will grow in a very common pattern. What they'll do is they start out small like this, little cute fuzzy things like a puppy. Then their stem will grow longer and longer. As the stem grows longer and longer, the bottom leaves will die. And many folks ask me, Ray, what's happening to my plant? The leaves are dying at the bottom. You know what? That's a very natural and very common thing for the plant to do. What you do is you just snip them off close to the stem and let it grow. It'll have this long, beautiful stem and a display of leaves at the top. Some of them will have a lot of leaves, some of them will just have a few. I prefer to just have a few at the top. It gives it a more striking, graceful appearance. I love the color on this one. Now, the next one doesn't look very remarkable, and yet, you know what? I should put this tag back in there because you know me, I forget things. Okay, this one is called Brazil. Brazil. It's a pothos, but its nickname is Brazil. I had no idea. I just call it a variegated pothos. It looks a little bit wimpy, and the reason it does is, oh, let me move it up here so you can see it. The reason it does is because it came in a pot, a plastic pot, smaller than this one. Yeah, it was itty bitty. The roots were all clustered in there. What I did was I took it out of the pot, spread the plant, cut all the lower leaves. It was a very beautiful little itty bitty plant. What I did was I cut off all the lower leaves because I didn't want them buried. And then I spread all of these plants apart all the way to the edges wherever I could, see? And I put compost soil in there, very rich compost soil. And this, what I'm planning happening is going to start growing out in all different directions, and then new growth is going to come out. So in time, this is going to become a big, long vining plant. Yes, these vine down. These are great for hanging plants or up on shelves. The nice thing about philodendrons, I hope I didn't call this a pothos. The nice thing about philodendrons is that they are low light loving plants. They can go with bright light, grow fast, or low light and grow slower. And I like the variegated leaves. Look at that. It's got the yellow and the green. And I think that's going to be beautiful. The leaves that I cut off were striking, and hopefully it'll get some more leaves. So here it is at the beginning. One day I'm going to show you this if it survives, cross your fingers, and it is going to be such a huge difference from what you see here. The last little member, actually it's not really so little, is it? And you know what? It came in a very small pot. It looked ridiculous. It was all top heavy. This one was marked down to $2.50. Yes, this beauty was marked down, and it has this cluster of leaves in here, and in just the last couple days these new ones have come out. It puts out a new cluster of leaves, and as they come out, these older ones will lay down, and eventually they'll die, and that generally fertilizes the soil. I'm going to clip those things off. Of course, just like everything else, I have it growing in the really rich composty soil. I'm thinking this is going to do absolutely beautifully in this type of soil, in this type of environment. It's humid, it's warm, and I'm keeping the soil moist. I think it's going to do good. And then the last one, not quite so remarkable yet, and yet I have a little bit of an affinity for these jade plants. This is a succulent. It has thick leaves, and it's really tiny. You can see all kinds of little ones growing out of here. They have a habit of doing that. And these are nice because what you can do, a lot of folks, what they'll do is they'll take a leaf off and then put the leaf bottom side down into the soil, and it grows a whole new plant. Not all the time. So don't count on it doing it every single time. Or you can take cuttings when they get tall. These stems will get taller and fatter. The last one that I had, the stem, the main stem, almost got as fat as my wrist. Yeah, well, I don't really have a fat wrist. I have a kind of a small wrist. But still, it actually got really, really fat. It branched out, and I'm going to show you how I pruned this. Yeah, you prune this in order to grow thicker, stronger, and quite big. No, it's not going to last very long in this pot. Eventually, it's going to go into a large one, and yes, I'm going to grow it with the compost and see how it does. It seemed to do good last time I did this, so I'm going to try it again. These are inexpensive plants that I found at the store, and most of them were about $2.50, $2.25. They were very inexpensive, and so I couldn't help myself. And there are little itty bitty bugs walking around this room, and I have no idea what they are. If I can catch one, I'll show you. And there it is. I don't know what this thing is. There's a whole bunch of them, and they don't bite. They don't bother me at all, but they're all over my house at this time of year. Strange little things. I'm going to take a picture of one. I did transfer the papaya into a new pot, tossed away all the old soil around its roots, and put in the new composty soil, and it didn't go into shock. Nope, there was no shock involved, and if you'll notice, the light green leaves that were going in all different directions are starting to get deeply lobed, and look at the green on this. It's all the way around. Absolutely picture perfect. The soil, I credit the soil for doing this. It did really, really well. And it looks kind of like a little palm tree now, doesn't it? Yeah, I like this. I like this little tree, and I'm so glad I pruned it back. It's going to do just fine. I wanted to do an update because I promise you updates, and I keep my promises. I don't mind if it doesn't have a smell. It's pretty enough for me. And it was cheap! But the papaya is doing absolutely perfect, and that wasn't the only thing I wanted to show you. I'm not going to drag you in close again, but I'm going to show you this. Look, the purple passion plant. Remember I was showing you how I clipped it around there, and I started it from a few little starters? That and the spider plant. I did them both at the exact same time. Now, to show you the difference of what happened, and by the way, yes, there is that compost soil in these ones as well. I just top dressed them. Now I'm going to show you a difference from when I first transplanted the cuttings in there to today, okay? First, the spider plant. Check this out. Very nice. Very nice indeed. Eventually, this one's going to get way bigger than its mother, or actually its grandmother. Yes, this is the grandchildren of the first spider plant I had over here. Now, let's take a look at the purple passion plant from the very first to right now. Check this out. The little arms are going out all over the place. That's okay. That's okay. Remember, I told you. I remember telling you that eventually this room's going to fill up. And that's what it was. At first, there was just a couple little plants. It didn't look like much. And little by little, these plants are going to start taking over. This thing is going to be incredibly monstrous. This one is going to just rival it. So I have to keep them on opposite sides of the room. And then we have the coleus over here that is definitely not going to be shying away. It's going to get big as well. All of these new things we're adding to the Voodoo Garden to make it a new and interesting year. Come on, we can't keep doing all the old stuff. And also, it's going to be fun watching the papaya grow, isn't it? Anyway, this is it. This is the new additions to the Voodoo Garden. I hope you had a good time. If you have any questions, comments, post them in the comment section below. One of us will get back to you as soon as we can. I'll talk to you soon. Until next time, this is Ray and his lovely little co-host with no smell. Have a great day, everybody. We're out of here. We out of here? Oh, gotta put you back into the light. I know. You're a little shy. That's okay. You'll get used to this.